Hold on. Already screwed up the slides, guys. Oh no, did the wrong one. Hold on. We're still new to this. Here we go. Full screen. I screwed that up last time, but we are back now. All right, guys, welcome. We're talking about a cool one here. A very, very cool brand called Liquid Death. And of course, you may have heard of this, may have not. If you've not heard of this, this basically is just a canned water brand. It's just water. There's nothing else crazy about it. It's canned water. But this guy was able to build a $700 million company that sells canned water called Liquid Death. Really, really cool. I got a lot of cool takeaways, some history on this company. And then, of course, we have a document that goes along with this that is going to be even more in depth and going to have even more takeaways and even more specific actionable action points that you can implement in your businesses in the future. If you're going to sell on Amazon, if you're already selling on Amazon, if you have a product idea, that's what you're going to want to have. And that document is in the Facebook group. If you haven't joined, it's the link somewhere, right? So, but yes, we can see all of these cool brands like this one, Liquid Death. But if we don't analyze it and look at it and see what we can learn from it, then we're just wasting our time, right? So that's what we're going to do here is we're going to dive into essentially looking at Liquid Death here. If my slides are going to work. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So who is Liquid Death? What is Liquid Death? As you can see, that is Liquid Death right there. It's literally just mountain water in a can named Liquid Death. He was founded right here by Mike. And this guy was an unconventional guy. He had his own personality like we all do. And that's a lesson right there. He's a punk rock sensation of the water aisle. That can looks very different. It stands out, right? And that's the cool thing we're talking about. He took this daring approach to be able to stand out in an incredibly crowded marketplace. Bottled water. I don't know if there's anything more crowded than bottled water. And we're going to learn some really cool things from this. It allowed him to build to $700 million and be able to take on these giants. And if you look closely, he leveraged, there's a key right here, he leveraged his own personality to be able to make himself into this really cool brand, right? Move myself. So I want to talk about 4 key takeaways right here when it comes to Liquid Death. The first one here is the power of absurdity, right? Embrace what seems dumb or absurd. Make your product stand out from the crowd. That's all that matters. You have to stand out, period, end of story. If you're going to look like everyone else, don't even do it. If you're going to launch a product on Amazon that's just another Me Too product and doesn't look different, isn't different, doesn't stand out, you're wasting your time. Yes, you can have success, but we want to have some big fat success. Now, I'm not saying you're going to build a $700 million company, but this guy took his your canned water and called it Liquid Death. That's absurd. That's crazy. That stands out, right? Number 2 here, consumer engagement as king. Once again here, it's not just about the product. Product doesn't really matter. It's about creating this story, creating this experience, creating this community around this product. Because like I said, it's not about the product. Yes, customers buy the product, but you have to think, why do customers buy the product? What types of customers buy a product? What customers have to buy the product because there's no other option? And that's what he did here. He gave people another option, another group of people that are kind of those energy drinkers that want to be healthier, those kind of punk rock people, the other type of people, rather than just the normal little grandma that just wants to drink her water, right? He segmented and he went and identified a new group of people. And, you should be making products just based on the data. The data is great, but you should be, picking products and launching products based on the customer, based on the avatar and who you're actually selling to and who is actually buying the product. Data doesn't buy the product, people do. And he targeted specifically to this group of people, right? Dare to disrupt, being bold in a saturated market. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything like we have here at number 4. I don't know if there's anything more saturated than bottled water. It is extremely commoditized, extremely saturated, extremely competitive, but we're not there yet. I want to ask you a question here. He entered into this market and disrupted it with his brand, Liquid Death. And take this scope. You may be like, oh, it's kind of saturated on Amazon. Others, competition, taking a victim mentality. But why don't you ask yourself this question? If this guy was able to disrupt the bottled water market, I'm sorry, can you not disrupt the market on Amazon? Can you not disrupt the market on on a product that is not even close to how crazy saturated bottled water is. Not only is it saturated, but it's like you can get like 48 water bottles for like $3 or something. Like that's an exaggeration, but like incredibly cheap. And I have right here, I'm over here on my notes a bit, but with every product, there's an opportunity to be bold, to stand out, to go against the grain, to segment, to speak to a specific target audience out there that hasn't been spoken to, that's being overlooked. Whether that's with your product features, your messaging, your marketing, your branding, your name. He's done all of this here with Liquid Death. He said, okay, Liquid Death, we're going to put it in a can. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later here. But once again, Amazon's, it's all perspective. Amazon's not saturated. This dude took on the bottled water market and built a $700 million company. You can be able to launch any product on Amazon as long as you're taking these tactics and these strategies and these ways of thinking from here. So how did Liquid Death break the market? How did he come here and just completely disrupt? Well, it was a couple steps here, right? It was the epiphany. He had an epiphany. It always starts with that, right? He spotted the gap in the market, not really more on a product side, because there's not really a big gap when it comes to the product. The gap was the audience. That was the gap. It was the audience that was overlooked by the healthy beverage marketers, right? Really, the audience he went after was, like I said earlier, those energy drink guys, the guys who love the energy drinks, but they're like, deep down, they're like, should probably stop drinking these. And that's kind of what the can looks like. It looks like an energy drink, but it's not, right? And the cool thing is it stands, the energy drink looking water can stands in the sea of other water bottles, right? And really at the end of the day, gaps in the market and gaps in separating yourself and your product are incredibly massive, but we miss them a lot of the time because we get so focused on the micro, so focused on the data and the products and analyzing and spreadsheeting and looking at all this stuff, when in reality, if you just step back and went macro and looked at the market and said, who's buying this product, what's going on, and who's not, how can we address it? Address those people. And that's exactly what he did right here with these energy drink type people. Number two, embracing the absurd. You can't say anything more. A canned water bottle called Liquid Death. He went with an outrageous name, and I guarantee you he didn't pick that the first time. That was a work in progress, but the thing is, it piques curiosity. It's standing on the shelf in the sea, like I said, of other plain ass water bottles. And he's got this can that says Liquid Death. Even if they don't buy it, they're going to be like, whoa, what is that? I'm going to pick it up. And that's what the packaging is there to do. Because if you can't get someone to look at your product, if you can't get someone to pick it up, there's no chance they're going to buy it, right? Number three here, proving the concept. He didn't just like launch this thing and just throw $800,000 into something and just say, I hope it works. No, he put out teaser campaigns. He put out content. He ran ads to this product, to the idea of this product before he even launched it, before he even threw a bunch of money into it. So this can be applied directly to Amazon too. You don't have to go invest $25,000 in a product. What you can do is you could really just put some ads behind it like this guy did. See if it gets traction. See if people go, wow. And then you can even just start a Kickstarter campaign and get funded yourself, right? Validate the idea with feedback, via content, via ads. Stand out with your great product, because once again, if you're going to just launch a product that's just the same as everyone else, you're not going to stand out in the marketplace with these ads. You're not going to get good result. You're not going to get good feedback. You're not going to get attention. And that really says something, right? So it's all about focusing on and seeing what you can do to be able to model this and build your products around this like he did, right? So number four, capturing attention, validating the idea and securing the funding on the consumer interest before even hitting the market. Like I said, he didn't just throw the money in there and just hope it worked. No, he tested it out. He saw what worked and what didn't and improved the product before he even launched it, right? Because the reality is attention is a massive, massive resource now. And really the question he asked was, this is something to ponder and to think of, is not thinking about the product. I don't know what he asked himself, what was going through his head, but I can almost guess that he asked not what product is going to make me the most amount of money, what data is going to be like, boom, data, this is going to make me a millionaire. He didn't ask that. He most likely asked, what product, what positioning, what marketing, what branding, what name can get me the most attention? Can you see how he probably asked that question? And now he obviously asked those questions, and then he has Liquid Death, the canned water bottle. He didn't focus on the data only, he focused on getting attention. And where there's attention comes money. And number 5 here, navigating challenges, right? He navigated challenges because this was the pandemic. Everyone struggled with that. And I guarantee you the only reason Liquid Death survived, as crazy and silly as it sounds, is because of how crazy and silly it sounds. If he just launched another Me Too product, a product that was just a little bit better than Glacier water bottles, he wouldn't have survived. He survived because it was Liquid Death, the canned water bottle. It stood out on the shelf. It was different. It hit a gap in the market, more specifically, a group of people in the market. We have a quote here from him. It's very interesting. He's not about selling water. And that's the thing. You're not selling a product. If you're selling birdhouses, you're not selling birdhouses. It says right here, we're not selling water. We're providing a narrative, an experience, and a rebellion. Ooh, hear that word, rebellion against the status quo. That is what people are buying into. People don't need to buy Liquid Death. They can just get some water out of the sink, or they can go buy the competitor's super cheap, easy, plain water bottle. But no, they buy Liquid Death because they're buying into a narrative. They're buying into an experience. They're buying into rebelling against the status quo. This comes from being clear of who you're targeting, what avatar, what person, what part of the market you are going towards. And that's what he's selling here. Most everyone, if you're going to launch a product on Amazon, you're looking to it, or you're already doing it right now, you're most likely stuck in the micro. You're stuck in the data. You're stuck in all of that stuff. And you're stuck on the features and maybe the benefits. But you're just focused on all that little tactical stuff. It's not about the tactics. It's about the strategy here. This is the strategy. He's not selling water. He's selling a narrative, an experience, a rebellion. That's strong wording against the status quo. So these are questions to ask yourself. How can I be able to build my brand and act like my product is not special at all? That's an exercise to do, because once again, you're not selling a product. You're selling this experience. So we got another quote here from him, the power of branding, because obviously the reason this is successful simply is because of the branding, right? Drawing from my experience, my personal advice is to never underestimate the power of branding that bucks the trend. Would you say he bucked the trend? Hell yeah, he did. It's risky, yes. And we can offset some of that risk by, like we talked about before, testing, putting this together, designing this product, putting together some material and running some ads behind it to be able to see if it works, right? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But picking up here, it's risky, yes, but it's often in the absurd, the outrageous, and the outright rebellious that we find these sticky messages that resonate with audiences yearning for something that would break the mold. It gets boring, y'all. It gets boring just with all the plain little vanilla products. No one likes vanilla. It's a marketing thing. No one likes vanilla ice cream. They always like something with a little spice to it. Obviously not spicy ice cream. That'd be gross. But unless y'all, unless there's some freaks out there that want to sprinkle some cayenne in their ice cream. But that's what I'm saying here is the power of branding. And most people put branding and just put that as the back seat. They focus on the product. They focus on maybe making some improvements. They focus on a listing. They focus on the pictures. And I'm not saying that stuff is not important when it comes to success on Amazon, but it's about focusing on what's more important. Branding should not take a back seat. It should be up there with picking your product. Picking your product, branding. Branding might even come first, right? He said, I'm going to sell a water bottle. What kind of crazy moron does that? But he saved it because of branding. He stuck out. So the question is, what can you do with your products to stick out? Not, oh, I've got a nice little feature here that allows you to crank the can opener faster. Like, that doesn't stand out. That's a minute little thing. This product stands out with the name, with the packaging, with the material, with the vibe, with the audience that it is targeted towards, right? Let's jump into some action steps here from Liquid Death. And we're going to kind of jump through this here. We don't want to spend a massive amount of time, but as you can see on all of these, I don't have them on every slide here because it is going to take forever. It's all going to be on the resource document regarding these actionable insights and implementation strategy. And of course, at the end, how it directly relates to Amazon. That's going to be covered in that document, so we don't spend 2 hours on here. But first one here is embracing uniqueness and authenticity, right? He's got this big, bold branding position. He stands out in this unbelievably saturated marketplace that is water bottles, right? He said, screw the norms, screw what everyone else is doing, screw the established brands, screw the competition. I'm going to be different, right? And of course, it's thinking outside. We've talked about this a little bit. but it's thinking about outside the box when it comes to the brand name, when it comes to the packaging, when it comes to the words you use, the avatars you target, the marketing strategies. Because authenticity, making the brand a real person, attracts people, connects them with people. I'm sure with Apple, you have a fond connection with Apple, where it's like your lovely, fun uncle that you're like, oh, or like a nice grandma. That's Apple. They're techie, but you have a good feeling about them. They're more than just a brand. So it's about standing out. It's being unique, not being afraid to do that. It's about crafting this strong brand story, because as you can see right here, people connect with stories. Like we talked about in that quote, they connect with stories and reasons behind the brand. Don't just launch a product and a brand on Amazon just because you're like, oh, let's crank this baby out. I'm launching. I got caught in this a little bit. I was bragging and being like, oh yeah, we're launching a product a week on Amazon, and that's awesome and all. Yeah, we're turning and burning, we're cranking products. But then I had to take a step back and be like, hey, that's great, but it's about not just launching products. And yes, they're doing well. It's not like they're bombing, but it's about creating this brand that people resonate with, that they can get behind, compelling and crafting a compelling narrative for your product that resonates with the buyer. It's not just like buying this like cheap, stupid brand name Chinese product on Amazon, where it's like Young Yang, not to hate on, Mandarin and the Chinese people, they're great, but like, that's not a good brand name. Like, imagine if Apple was named Young Yang, like you'd be like, what? It's just Apple. It's great, right? It's really focusing on having a deeper connection with it, with the customers, with how you actually develop this product. Now we'll take an example here, kind of spitballing. We'll have some more, like I said, more information on the resource document, but I want to kind of go through how this might look, right? It's about taking things and going deeper. It's the deeper levels. So we can take a little bit of an example of liquid death and maybe how it kind of worked. But like I said, it's about asking questions to go deeper. So he may have started with, okay, well, I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to do water. I'm going to do a water brand. Okay, what is it? What is water, right? What is the water bottles? What is the market? So market of water bottles, what's some adjectives to describe the market of water bottles? I'm sure you have some. Drop some in the comments. I'm not going to act like you're dumb. Let's be real. It's boring. It's standard. It's plain. It's for everyone. It's cheap. It's bland. Okay, so he's got some adjectives, and he maybe asked, okay, well, how can we be different? What can we do to stand out? What can we do to look different, be different, make someone else feel different or feel something? And his answer obviously was like, okay, well, maybe we can be more bold, right? Maybe we can be more bold, which is really just the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And that's kind of the theme of the story here. So, he comes up with Aquafina, or whatever all these water bottle brand names are. He comes up with liquid death, the opposite of what you think water would be. Water's not death. Water's not liquid death. But, he decides to name his brand name that. And I'm sure that wasn't his first guess, but you can see the progression here. And, he can go even further. Okay, what does death mean, right? Again, most people don't think. We've been trained not to freaking think. Think deep. Right? This is the process he went through to build a $700 million company, right? So what does death mean? Okay, what are some adjectives? Well, sad, angry, maybe revenge, maybe actions. You're taking some actions. Maybe someone killed someone, murder. So he has a slogan here of, hey, why do we drink water? Well, we drink water probably because we're thirsty. Okay, well, maybe with liquid death, we murder thirst. That's copywriting. That's marketing. That's positioning. That's branding. We're murdering thirst. And he also looked at the bottle. He said, oh, everyone's got these just plastic water bottles. Okay, well, why don't we just be different and go canned? I don't see any other canned water bottles. It's simple. Like, this was a simple, I'm sure this took a while to go through, but like, if you look at it, it's simple. He saw everyone had plastic water bottles, so he said, oh, I'm going to go canned. He said, everyone has got this lovely little water mountain name, so I'm going to call it liquid death. It's a process. It's going through this and actually just thinking through it, right? He also leveraged social proof and lots of FOMO, right? He generated all kinds of buzz with his marketing, and really it worked because of his positioning. Because once again, before having an actual product, Liquid Death validated this idea. He generated tons of buzz, running ads to social media and getting engagement, building this FOMO, intriguing the audience because it's a standout, weird, different product. And once again, it's a bottle, it's a can of water. This is not some like brand new Apple technology. It's a can of water. You don't have to go out and invent something new. It's how you position it. It's perspective. And of course, he optimized for virality. For marketing strategies that customers will want to share. This involves high quality, engaging content. And of course, it's the content, but it's really just what's being offered, what's being shown. If you see Liquid Death and you've never seen it before, you're like, wow, I want to share this. This is funny. This is crazy. It's giving the brand a personality. You should view your brand as a person, as a personality, and your brand has a certain personality, and you have a certain personality. And generally, when you have a certain personality, you're going to associate with similar people that have that personality. So it's seeing and crafting your brand personality and saying, oh, okay, what kind of people would like to, be my friends, right? And once again, this is marketing strategies. This is kind of micro stuff, but the macro basically is the product you're picking and how you're designing it and how you're branding it and how you're positioning it to be able to stand out. And like I've said, he did this with water bottles. You can do this with this is like the hardest thing to do. Water bottles. There's not much to do to improve on water bottles. So if he can do this, you can do this with any freaking product. It's just about sitting down and asking those questions and going deeper like we talked about, right? And of course, he leveraged strategic partnerships and collaborations. He leveraged influencers. He built a cult following. And the reason he was able to build this following and build this virality is because of the product, the branding, the messaging, the target audience that he is choosing. And the question is like, when you're picking a product, when you're doing your research, when you're trying to launch a new product or your first product on Amazon, are you even thinking about who I'm selling to, how I'm standing out, what personality, what friends of the brand is going to be? And that's what I'm encouraging you to do, right? And then being able to work with these strategic partners that align with your brand, right? You don't see brands associating with things that are completely against who they are, right? I can't think of an example right off the top of my head, but I think you get my point, right? Like I've said, it's this whole time, it's about understanding your demographics, understanding who is buying the product, because you're not launching a product. You're not launching a product to make money, to launch an Amazon product just because. You're launching a product for someone. We're not selling water. Like I said, we're selling a narrative. We're selling and launching a product for someone, for a market. We should be doing market research instead of product research, really. Everything is centered from this right here. And of course, like we talked about, he tested before he invested. He put this out. He put some money into this, ran it, and basically was able to see what people thought and validated the concept first, and then got money and got attention and was able to launch that product. Like I talked about, you can put $500 in ads. That may sound like a lot, but it's a lot less than spending $10,000 on a product you don't know is going to work. Testing to see if it works, and then, like I said, you can use Kickstarter to be able to get funding for your product and be able to launch it. Right? You don't need money. You don't need a lot of money. As long as you build a cool product, you get attention, and be able to say, wow, we stand out. And of course, he also expanded upon and past Amazon, not just being completely reliant on Amazon and living in this bubble. And this is what we work with our students on, the different phases within our program here, because that's not something that beginners are really set up to do. That's kind of like once you got some products going, expand beyond, because it's a bit more nuanced. But he didn't just rely strictly on Amazon. He expanded past there and sold directly to customers, and was able to deepen this brand and deepen the relationship with the customers. All right, we only got a couple more here, guys. Couple more, and this is a big one here. USP, unique selling proposition. This is key. When you're launching a product, what is your unique selling proposition? Why would someone buy your product besides it just being ranked, besides them just seeing it? What's the reason for them to actually buy it? And in this case, sustainability was their USP, along with kind of their branding and stuff like that. But sustainability, this was the can, the metal can. He was saying, oh, screw plastic. We're going to be can. It's great for the environment. We can recycle this, yada, yada, yada. But the thing is, once again, this USP, sustainability, is a part of the brand personality. It's like a trait for you. It's a part of your personality. Like, for instance, maybe you value personally dogs. And you're like, man, I support the ASPCA or whatever it's called. I love that, and that's a part of me. That's a USP for you, right? And this sustainability is a USP and something that makes this brand stand out. So once again, you're launching products on Amazon, and you may not be even thinking what makes my product different other than I'm going to put a new gear here to make it less squeaky if you get a sweet can opener or whatever. I don't know. But that's what I'm trying to say here is being intentional with your USP. And it doesn't have to be this big, massive thing. And of course, they're always continuing to engage, build a community, build the brand, deepen the relationship, and innovate. Because the thing is, the bottom line here, folks, is it's all about perspective. It's how you see things. It's an opportunity. This is an opportunity to be able to build something cool. And no, I'm not saying spend 6 months developing a product. You're not building a $700 million brand. I'm saying spend a couple weeks thinking deeply into a product. Do not spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 months trying to be like, oh, I gotta find this perfect product and develop this perfect product. No, don't do that. I'm saying there's a balance. It's not just picking a product you find off the shelf and launching it. And it's also not spending a year in development and planning of the product. It's about speed, but it's about being intentional with your time. And like I was saying, this should be fun. This should be cool. This should be a joy that you're able to develop and think of and brainstorm these cool products. So, with my students, we have this A to Z. It's literally A to Z. It's a 27, there's 26 letters in the alphabet, slide deck of improvements, ideas, and going through the process. And we encourage them to do with other people. And it's this fun collaborative process of thinking through different ideas on how you can create innovative products that's not going to require you to invent something new. And that's what we talk about, is the idea of progressive enhancement, making those improvements over time while you stay ahead of the competition and not just saying, I'm going to make 10 improvements right away and take forever, right? So my friends, like I said, in the document that is accompanying in the Facebook group, we have direct actionable steps for Amazon sellers covered, like I said, in that document. And then, of course, some FAQs here, which we're not going to cover here. It's right here. It's in the document. We've already been chatting for a while, but there's some really, really cool things here that we are able to learn from this brand and from the ideas of being able to just stand out and how we can apply this to our products to be able to make more money. So guys, thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for hanging out. I had fun. I enjoyed researching this. I enjoyed thinking through this, and I'm sure you guys are dropping off right now, leaving me hanging. Oh, but once again, check out on my socials, check out the schedule on what we got coming up next with these trainings. Like I said, I'm doing these trainings every single day to be able to help you guys out and be able to help me out. I'm helping myself out by getting better at these skills, presenting and researching and doing some fun stuff. I'm enjoying it. I enjoy hanging out with y'all. And make sure you check out the schedule, register for the next trainings. It's all in the document. Join the group, all that cool, fun stuff. And my friends, I will see you tomorrow.